So good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the meetings of St Paul's Covent Garden, which are the annual meetings. Now, those of you who are old hands at this will know there are actually 3 meetings. It is now 11 minutes past 12. You are the formal timekeeper, okay? So as we know, we have a macabre desire to make this the quickest AGM in the Church of England. So our first meeting is the annual parish, sometimes called the vestry meeting. This has only one task. It is the election of church wardens. I have received the following nominations: Alexander Campbell, Maximilian Lacey, Robert Sambetti. So there being no more nominations, and there being 3 spaces for church wardens, I therefore declare them duly elected as church wardens to serve the parish in 2024-25. Round of applause for them, please. That, believe it or not, concludes the business of the vestry meeting, so we move on to the annual parochial church meeting. By the way, if you don't have a pack and you have a modern device and you want to download the pack, you can come and use this QR code. If not, try and get sight of a pack. They are available at the back of church. Do we have any apologies? Josephine Buchan, Libby Shaw. Okay, thank you very much. You will have received the minutes of the 2023 annual parochial church meeting. This is, well, they all look a bit like that, and that's this. Would somebody, preferably somebody who was present, care to propose that these be accepted as a true record of the meeting? Proposed Charles Grant. Seconder? Who's that? Andrea, you're hidden behind Charles. I couldn't see you. All those in favour, please indicate. Any against? Nem.com. Thank you very much. Matters arising from the minutes of last year. Does anyone have any matters arising from last year's report? Good. In which case, we will move on to the electoral roll report, and I call upon the PCC Secretary to give his report.
Hello. Electoral roll has increased this year. It was 101 at the last count, and this year is 107. The PCC, the last APCM was the 30th of April in 2023. And since then, there have been 7 regularly scheduled meetings of the PCC and 1 extraordinary meeting, for a total of 8 meetings. There are 13 elected PCC members, with Simon Grigg as chair and Marisha Widdus as vice chair, plus 2 co-opted members. All members of the PCC either attended or sent apologies that they were unable to attend. The following matters were addressed during the year: Rob Zambetti's work with Save the Parish, Church Commissioners and General Synod; the Church's ongoing work to become more eco-friendly, the energy efficiency audit of the Church carried out in October 2023, and achieving a Bronze Eco-Church Award; the outcomes of the end of the Church of England's Living in Love and Faith process discussing same-sex marriage; the departure of Iris Theatre; the visit of Their Majesties the King and Queen; safeguarding training for the whole PCC; the restoration of the eaves, pulpit, baptistry and altar rail; clergy support for Father Simon; the future challenges facing the church and parish and how to best address them, and subsequently the extension project; the challenge of safely storing the church silver; church wardens meeting with the Diocesan General Secretary and the Archdeacon of London; and the future relationship with Cards for Good Causes.
Well, didn't we do well? We got through a lot. Thank you very much, Phil. Actually, you can go back there now. Oh, no, you've done your PCC Secretary. Right, very good. Okay, so I now call upon our Treasurer, Marisha Widdus, to give her report and her financial statements. She has promised me she's not going to faint this year. We'll do that.
afternoon, everybody. It doesn't seem that long since we did the last one, although I must admit, for me, that was a bit of a blur. Right. So this year, we've had an incredibly busy year at the church. We've moved forward on a breadth of things that Simon has mentioned, and that has impacted significantly on the figures we see. Simon mentioned during the sermon that our turnover had reached over 1 million. When you look at the reports, you won't see 1 million reflected on there because of accrual adjustments to put things in the correct year. But nevertheless, the throughput has been amazing. So, in your pack, you have the trustees' report and financial statements. Page 8 of that is the statement of financial activities. And I'm just going to very briefly comment on that. That is really our key statement. So in 2023, our income received was £882,000 and 716. So that's, it's climbing year by year. And compared to 2022, when it was 757,000, expenditure almost matched income, sadly. 839,836 compared to 619,777 in 2022. That generated a small net surplus for us of 42,880 in the year. So our total carried forward funds that you will then see in the balance sheet, we're holding in excess of £1.4 million now. So all good news, really. The reason our expenditure was up in the 800,000s was primarily due to quite a lot of capital projects that we took forward this year. So there was work on the eaves. There was work, probably Simon's going to mention in the fabric report. So I won't go through them, but we spent nearly 200,000 on various improvements for the church that really needed doing, including £25,000 on sound and maintenance upgrades. So it's just a never-ending investment, it seems to me. So yeah, I'm not going to go into any more details on the income and expenditure unless anybody's got any questions. Yes, hi Andrea. Sorry, on page 13, I couldn't hear what... Yeah, so in 2022, we had put in returns for more than 1 year. So it's not so much that it's dropped, it's just that the year before there was a bit of a catch-up going on. Yeah. Any other questions? No? I'll move on to the balance sheet in that case. So really very little to say on the balance sheet. I've already commented that we are carrying forward in excess of £1.4 million. I would say the changes in debtors, it really depends for us on when bills get paid from week to week. There's nothing significant in the trend of it. So really, I think it's self-explanatory. I've gone through it a number of times. Has anybody got any questions on the balance sheet? No? Well, let's move on. The final statement that we have a statutory duty to produce is the cash flow statement. And every year I struggle to justify the significance of this statement in the accounts pack. So the short answer is, for us, it's not really giving us any more illumination of our financial position because it's designed for more manufacturing type organisations that hold large amounts of stock, and then it would tell you something about whether you were holding liquid or non-liquid assets or debts. For us, it really doesn't add anything, and we only do it because any organisation that has more than £500,000 going through has to report on that. So other than that, I don't have any other comments on this. We are a going concern. We intend to remain a going concern, and our auditors were happy to sign us off with very few queries. Any questions at all? No. In that case, just before I leave the lectern, I would like to add a few thank yous to Simon, so just please indulge me for a minute. I have the most incredible team in the office. Laura Wickham, who is our finance manager effectively now, she's responsible for all the bookkeeping and the day-to-day running of the church finances. She keeps an eye on absolutely everything and maintains the most exemplary records, which is why we get so few queries from our auditors. She's one of the most diligent person I've ever met, and we are so lucky to have her working for us. We also have an exceptionally dedicated management team that Simon mentioned, Ben, Phil and Sophie, and also our lovely Rob, who have pulled us up to being a church that operates at a quality and level so far above our fighting weight. I'm just in awe of them. The Archdeacon, Luke Miller, commented at a recent meeting that we act like a much larger church than the size of the building justifies. So I'd also like to take a big pause to thank our lovely Simon. His energy day in, day out just puts us all to shame. I mean, he is the absolute dynamo that runs this, that keeps us moving forward, that, engenders change still. After all these years in the job, he still has so much enthusiasm and joy for the job that it carries us all with him. So Simon, thank you. You are an absolute blessing to us all. He is, of course, supported, as Simon mentioned, by some amazing church wardens. And they're doing strands of work that will have a positive impact for years to come on this building, on this area, and even on shaping national ecclesiastical policy. We've never had a more outward-looking, set of church wardens. And I sat in our last PCC, in fact, and I was just so impressed by the quality and breadth of what they and the PCC are achieving. At the risk of sounding like a certain lady bishop, I am grateful to have the privilege to work with you all. Thank you.
In which case we move on to item 7, which is the Deanery Synod report. We have 2 Deanery Synod reps, but I'm going to ask Alison, please.
Hello, everyone. This is the piece of paper with Deanery written on the top right-hand side. It's basically the Deanery's own report, but I've tweaked it. I've numbered up the paragraphs, and if I skip a numbered paragraph, that's because there's nothing to add anyway. James Ward has been terribly ill, as you know, for many months, and so I'd been acting as a non-voting member on the Deanery Synod in his stead. Yes, paragraph 5. Last year we had the great, it was a really delightful service. We ended up having at St Anne's, Soho, with the Eucharist then, followed by our garden party here. That was a lovely event, and we are so very grateful to have this terrific resource. And thanks again to Carol, who does all that she does. Paragraph 6, the Deanery Synod on the 27th of November. This should have been my first meeting as an elected member, but I couldn't attend as I was at a much needed Save the Parish meeting in Loughborough, of all places, with their concerns about the Diocese of Leicester and the worries going on there. And again, you'll see in paragraph 6 the concerns that have been raised quite naturally about the current status of our deanery schools. We've got 11 of them, but they are declining in the number of pupils because of the kind of households we now have in the centre of London. And this is a perfect example of what happens when people can't afford to rent, let alone buy their own properties. A place begins to die. You've got to have youth. And socially speaking, London is on a bit of a trajectory for decline in that respect. Paragraph 7, the Deanery Synod will be convening this Wednesday, 1st of May, and we'll be looking forward to meeting the new Archdeacon of Charing Cross, the Venerable Catherine Headley. And it's useful to remember that the Deanery Synods they're a useful way of parishes and churches being able to communicate with one another those projects that they themselves are involved in and hearing of those successes, because it's very easy to think that everything is doom and gloom, but actually it isn't. Things are going on as they're going to be going on here. During that meeting, we are hoping to solicit interest in obtaining volume discounts for services like storage of church silver, HR, advisory assistance, etc., because the church, to say that it is a billion-dollar business, doesn't have services that every single church will probably at some point need. I can't think of any other business that operates quite like that. And I know a great deal of time has been expended in this last year trying to find somewhere to store our hugely valuable silver. But that is also the case with lots of other parishes. So if we can get together with those parishes and say, right, we want X, can we have a discount? Great. Also attached is a motion that will hopefully eventually go to the General Synod. We will be talking about that this coming Wednesday evening. It's all to do with the finance and how it's worked and where it goes to. Please read that, it is terribly important. And living in love and faith, this is an ongoing thing. It will probably be still on the agenda for several years, but it will eventually, I'm sure, be successful. Right, thank you.
There is, of course, no truth in the rumour that the definition of a deanery synod is a group of Christians waiting to go home. But we are, in fact, grateful to Alison and Rob, oh God, now I'm beginning to sound like Sarah, for giving up their evenings where they could be spending, useful time doing absolutely nothing. So many thanks to them. Also, it's not incorrect, it reads oddly. If you look at historic background, paragraph 3, it says, Bishop Sarah serves as our area bishop. That is true but misleading, because Bishop Sarah is, of course, the diocesan bishop of London, but she also acts as an area bishop for the two cities. As you know, all the other areas of London have an area bishop over which Sarah sits, but we have Sarah as our area bishop. That's this week. Doubtless they'll find a reason to have yet another bishop in London before too long. We're now up to 8. Obviously, all of them worth every penny. Rector's report, I don't propose to read it out. You can read it as you wish. I'm required by law to just note on page 4 the fabric report, because this forms part of the legal framework of this meeting, and you will see that almost everything that's on it is now being completed, like the pulpit, like the altar rail, and so on, so on, so on, so on. That's almost all finished, but of course this is as at 31st of December 2023. As you know, and I don't propose to talk because we'll break the budget on time, about the extension. Those of you who are unaware of it up to now, you can see some indicative drawings over there. Do study them. There will be much more. There will shortly be a page on the website where it will all be explained as we consult widely on the plans. But if you want to talk about it, I'm very happy to lay it out for you, but not in the forum of this meeting. But do have a look afterwards. And again, thanks to our wonderful architect, Charles Morris, who was found for us by Max and has done, I think, the most extraordinary work on it. So many thanks. Any questions on the Rector's report or the fabric report? You all want to go home, don't you? Right, so we come now to item 9, which is elections to the PCC. I have received the following nominations. Oh God, they're in the wrong order. Hang on. So I have received Carol Bavin, proposed Elizabeth Shaw, seconded by Tony Hogg. Josephine Buchan, proposed by Marisha Widders, seconded by Carol Bavin. Jennifer Hoare, proposed by somebody, seconded by somebody else. Proposed by Carol Bavin, seconded by Libby Shaw. Tony Hogg, proposed by Elizabeth Shaw, seconded by Carol Bavin. Are you getting a pattern here? Colin Passmore, who sends his apologies this evening, this afternoon, whatever it is, proposed by Max Lacey, seconded by Tony Hogg. Libby Shaw, proposed Carol Bavin, seconded Anthony Hogg. Marisha Widders, proposed by Carol Bavin, seconded by Josephine Buchan. And a late nominee, James Mee, who apologises for not being here today, proposed Max Lacey, seconded by Tony Hogg. Is it your wish that those be duly elected as members of the PCC? You are automatically a member because you've been elected for a 3-year term for Deanery Synod, so you are automatically elected. With that caveat, is it your will that they be elected? Thank you. Proposed, thank you. Seconded, Charles, thank you. Okay, appointment of sidespersons. So at the moment we have Tony and Jennifer and Carol as our sidespersons. Does anyone else feel moved by the Spirit also to sign up to be a sidesperson? And suddenly the floor became... Max, that's lovely, thank you very much. It takes the pressure off a small team, but it is really important. You know, a nice welcome makes all the difference, research shows. Thank you very much. Appointment of independent examiner. It is good practice to change our independent examiner / auditor every few years, and really we should change them. Unfortunately, because we've all been so busy, we've received a number of proposals: Knox Cropper, Zachary Ramsden, Kojo Amoo Arco, GSM and Stewardship, and John Helm. These have all come recommended by other administrators or treasurers around the deanery. So can I propose that that decision be remitted to the standing committee? Otherwise we'll have to call another emergency meeting. Are you happy about that? I'm happy to propose. Would somebody second? TC, I think it's been...
I think this is now 6 years. I'm not, I would have to check, but it's more than we would normally keep it.
Yeah.
No, it's just because we like to rotate it and get a fresh set of eyes on it. They have, it's not any reflection on the quality of their work, and I would be happy to recommend them. But I just feel, you know, after 3 to 5 years, it is good practice to just rotate that role on and get a fresh set of eyes on.
And it has been quite, because of COVID, it's been a bit longer, so I think it is right. So are you happy to go to the standing committee? Thank you very much. any other business? Anything you want to say? In which case, after 12:11, 24 minutes. That is it not? 19 was the record. Okay. In which case, let's stand and say very quickly, the grace. The grace of our Lord Jesus Christ, and the love of God, and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit be with us all evermore. Amen. If you are a member of the PCC, would you gather forward now just for internal elections to the various posts? If you're not, thank you very much for your attendance, and see you next week. Okay. Thank you very much. What am I doing with this? Yes, he does. He decides to come off. Tony, Jennifer, Alison. Oh, this is just Jan. Jennifer.
so the other